So we're going to go to an open tab and you're just going to type in Desmos. D-E-S-M-O-S. M-O-U-S-E, Mickey Mouse. Desmos. We're not doing it in our calculator. We type that in and we want the graphing calculator. Right, so we type on that. Now, if you've never used it before, then you are going to have to sign up. You might want to just double check that you haven't already got it. So I'm going to sign in with me. So I haven't signed in, you would need to sign in. But we go here, y equals, and let's go 4x take 2. So no surprises here. We knew it was going to cut the y-intercept at -2, and it's got a slope of 4. So rise over run will be 4. Happy with that. But when you're making this, what happens if I want it to only go from x equals 1 to x equals 2? So I only want it to go from this point here. You can't see that if you're at home. From here, x is 1, from this point up to this point. And how will you know you want to do that? Well, your diagram will have it once you've added your axes in. So this is what we do. We find our curly-whirly brackets. Can everybody find their curly brackets? And I'm going to say 1. And have I got, no, I'm going to go less than. You might have a little thing downstairs. Less than x. Notice what happens. Can you see the graph now? So less than is downstairs on your keyboard. And I'm going to go another one, less than 2. So this thing here, by putting in the curly brackets, we're saying I want my x values to go between only 1 and 2. Yeah? And that then gives you just one little segment. It won't give you the whole line. Does that make sense? Your Desmos is also pretty good because let's imagine I put in 2x take 5x, take 5y equals 7. What do we notice? What's the difference between, apart from the lines, but this one is in what form? Gradient y-intercept form, and this one is in general form. So your Desmos will take both forms. How nice is that? So you don't have to always rearrange it. Is that good? So this is where we're going with the picture. So all we have to do, very nice, all we have to do is then draw in an axis on your picture and you'll be able to get the points. How do we get the equation to type in? Well, that's what we're about to learn today. Okay? So we've got a horizontal line passing through at 3. Let's say this is 1. What is this coordinate here? It's 1, 3. Let's say this is 10. What is this coordinate? What about over this side? We've gone -7. What is this coordinate? -7, 3. What is the same on every coordinate? The y is 3. So would it surprise you that the equation of this line is in fact y equals 3. That's the equation of the line. Horizontal line. Let's hit another one. We go down here. Ooh, oops. That's not very good. Let's go more horizontal. Okay, so here, what would the equation of this line be? Y equals -7. Keeping that in mind, if I now switch it up, instead of being horizontal, what if I now have vertical? If I go through vertical at, let's say, 8. Yes, it'll be x equals 8. Right? So really simple. If I've got a horizontal line and it's passing through the point AB, then the equation is going to be y equals the b value. It equals your y value. Does that make sense? And if I have a vertical line, we know that the slope is undefined. And, and let's say it's passing through, once again, the point AB. This time my equation will be x equals whatever the x value is. Capiche? I think we're all successful drawing a horizontal line. So remember, graphing, we go to number 5. And if we just write y equals 5, now before I press draw, I'm going to make sure that I'm standard. Oh, look at my scale was a bit khaki, so I'm just going to go standard. So that was shift F3. Standard, that's better. And yeah, no surprises, I get my horizontal line. Who discovered how to draw a vertical line? All right, we're going to exit. Everyone watching? Sometimes people discover this by accident. So you know how we just talked about going to scale? You have to go shift view window. We still want to go here. Can you see here, type? So underneath, you want to press F3. If we press F3, see anything there that might be helpful? Yeah. So we've got an x equals here. So if we press F4, all of a sudden, everything changes to x. And now I can pop in x equals, I don't know, let's go 4. Press enter, and I've got my vertical line. If I want to change that back, once again, I go to type, I press y equals, and it goes back to y equals, right? But my graphs are still there, horizontal and vertical. So I'll just do that once more. Exit, right? I'm going to go to type here, F3, F4, and it changes it to that. I can now go -5. Maybe you could even try and make a box, right? Can everyone listen? So a couple of people have gone, oh, I can't get this, I can't get that, whatever. And the first thing that you need to do, because we were using it last lesson, right, we were playing around with table. So if I was in menu and I was in table, it looks the same. So you could just accidentally, because someone else was using it, you just see this and you go, oh yeah, it's graph. You've got to make sure that you're actually in the graph mode. So menu, 5. And then when you press type, the x equals. That happens a lot. It does to me as well. Painful. Okay. So in order to find the equation of a line, all we need is the slope and a point that lies on the line. Okay? L? Please don't do that. All right. Now, back in year 9, if you remembered, we had the good old y equals mx plus c. So we have the slope. Again, don't copy. Do not copy this. You could go 4/5 x plus c. And now, how are we going to find the c? We've got a y value, we've got an x value, have we not? So what would you want to do? Substitute. So it becomes 1 equals 4/5 times -2 plus c. We have to do a little bit of algebra to try and find c. So we're going to go 1 equals 4/5 times -2 is 8/5 minus thereof plus c. Therefore c would be 1 plus 8/5. Do we agree? Because that goes over the other side. How do we add that up? We're not using a calculator. I've got a whole plus 8/5. So everyone agree that a whole would be 5/5. So 8 plus 5, 13. So therefore, my equation would be y equals 4/5 x plus 13/5. If I wanted to get rid of all the fractions, what could I do? Times through by 5 and about. We'll leave it here. It's in general form. Now, not overly difficult, but some of you probably looking at that going, yikes, fractions. Didn't like it. Anyone out there going fractions? Didn't like it? A few people, you fractionist. So, here's the alternative, and I hope the method that you will choose to use. Do you remember your slope formula? What is it? I like how you went yes and then you're looking it up. So hopefully we all remember the slope formula is the slope, and I'm being slack today, change in y over change in x. y1 take y2 over x1 take x2 or vice versa. We're going to use that. What is my slope here? 4 over 5. Change in y. So it's going to be y, take my y value here. Are we happy with that so far? All over x, take my x value. So what's take to? Plus 2. Now I can see your little faces out there, and some of you are going, the trust is gone. She's talking about, didn't like this because there's fractions, and what's she doing? There's a fraction over here. Let's get rid of it. How do we get rid of that fraction? Cross multiply. Absolutely. So we're going to cross multiply. We're going to go 4 times. So get rid of this divide by x plus 2 times. Agreed? Get rid of this divide by 5 times. Fractions. Gonski. Expand your brackets. You want to put it in general form, or you want to put it in y-intercept form? I'm going to go general. All right, 4x, take 5y equals minus, lo and behold, what's 8 plus 5? These are the same, are they not? If I get rid of this 5, I times through, I get 5y equals 4x plus 13. I rearrange it to be general form and to be exactly the same. How good is that? Digest. So doing another example, example number 2, give this negative to one of them. So I'm going to write negative 6 over 7. Here's the only bit you have to remember. Y, take 2, all over x, take your x value, which is 4. Right? If you didn't have this y and x, then you wouldn't have an equation. You just have numbers that all cancel out, and that's no good. So you've got to have that y and the x, because they're going to be your variables. And we go, yep, no sweat. Now what do we have to do? Cross multiply. It's Monday, so I'm including my brackets in case I make a whoopsie. Negative times a negative. So if the question said do this and put it in gen, okay, don't like this negative here. So that's going to float over to the other side. Yeah? So now it'll be 6x plus 7y. Agreed? And this has still got the 24. What happens to this minus 14? Becomes plus 14, that's right. So you can now write this as 6x plus 7y, 38. You could write it like that. You could have written 38 equals 6x plus 7y. You okay with that? But you cannot write it as minus 6x take 7y equals minus whatever. That's no good. This must be positive. So that's done and dusted in general form. Now if it said put it in slope-intercept form, I've got the 7y there. Let's get rid of that take 14. We add 14, so that's going to be minus 6x plus 38 again. And depending on like how you rock and roll, right, you might want to go, no, I don't like it like that. I'm just going to rewrite it. 7y equals minus 6x plus 38. Is that okay? And now to get y by itself, what do we have to do to get y by itself? Get rid of the times 7, divide by 7. Now, Aston, he might go, I want to write it like this. Xavier might go, I want to write it like this. Both okay? You need the slope and a point, and they haven't given you the slope. But as someone said before, well, guess what? You can just find the slope. So if we're looking at part A, and this is what you're going to have to do with your picture, right? If we're finding the slope, it's going to be change in y over the change in x. Okay, so it's been a while. Label your little y's there. So 4 take 1 is 3. All over 8 take 5 is also 3. So I get a slope of 1. Now, what point should I use? Grace might go, I'm just sticking with the first point. I'm going to use that. Eugene might go, no, I want to use 5, 1 because they're smaller numbers. If you've got a pair where there's no negatives and the other one does have negatives, you could go, oh, I hate negatives, I'm going to use all positive. It doesn't matter. You could use either point. You'll get the same equation. Okay? So shall we use 5, 1? Right, your slope is 1 on 1. Y take 1 over x take 5. Cross multiply. So x take 5 equals y take 1. So we end up with x take y. Get rid of the take 5. Plus 5, 4. Done. So the only difference with question 3 is you find the slope first. That's it. Are we happy with that? Great.